Hello there, guys and girls, and welcome to episode 9 here in Valhaven. So, we are very nearly at the 10 mark in terms of episodes. So, I'm actually shocked we've got this far, to be honest. I thought I was going to do a few of these and give up, but I've been really impressed with all the support that we've had on the channel. Thank you very much to everyone so far, but please make sure you keep that coming. We are growing very nicely. So, um, before we dive in, let's just have a quick recap on what we did last time out and a few things that have been added off screen. So we came over into Medeiros and added in this small service interchange. So once again, big shout out to Overcharged Egg for the inspiration for this interchange. But yeah, we just added this in just to alleviate some of the traffic over in the east. So yeah, this is working quite nicely and giving people access to our nature reserve, which again we built in last week. So now where we have this tram track coming through, we have a nature reserve entrance, and then we had this really cool sort of low-key park area where people can come in, just have their picnics, etc., etc. Come across the bridge, do a bit of camping should they wish to. So yeah, I think we were all quite happy with this. I think it's looking really cool. Just an additional sort of area within the city. We also did a similar thing over in the east by our Stonehenge area. So this is very, very low key, just a small camping area sort of situated over here underneath the Stonehenge area. Again, some nice views out into the river, which look really cool, and will look even better once we have some. I'm envisaging some farms, etc. over there, some really large sort of farm areas. So yeah, that's going to look really cool in the future. We also did some minor work on our residential zones. So Medeiros is nice and big now, and Havelka over here has been expanded as well. And I'm actually a really big fan of this area now. So we've got the home sort of situated on this hill up against the little bay here. So yeah, I think this is looking really good as a little residential area. So yeah, little city recap. We also did some stuff in our industries. And off screen as well, I've just added a few things. So I moved our fire station to be situated just outside the front of our helicopter depot, and then added in a few more industrial, vanilla industrial estates here, just to give us a bit more industrial vibes. Cool. So let's crack on, shall we? So what I want to do today is move into a new area of the map. And I'm thinking I want to look at this area first. So I envisage this bay area as being kind of um, a sort of like a tourist spot. So I'm thinking I want some seaside resort assets in here, but then also maybe another nature reserve sort of on this island, just where people can come and enjoy themselves. But this is going to be kind of like a connector island. So I want this road to effectively run through the top of this area and then across into this, which will eventually be like a midtown sort of vibe. Where we're probably going to have a university over sitting in this area as well. So yeah, I think we're going to try and concentrate on that today. But one thing that we did unlock last time out was the universities. And I'm not actually in a position yet where I want to build a university because I very much want this to sit in this area. So in order to make sure that we don't have massive spikes of shops and industry areas expecting higher educated citizens, I just want to lay a university very quickly just to kind of satisfy that need. So I'm not really too concerned about where I place this, but I do want it to be a bit central so that we don't end up with masses of traffic. So I'm thinking temporarily, I'm probably just going to add it. No, I don't really want it there. I think, yeah, actually, I think as a temporary measure, I'm just going to add it here into our town centre vibe, because I don't think it's going to look too out of place sitting over here. So, as I say, this is very, very temporary. We just want to get this in to satisfy the need. That is probably going to create some traffic in this area, but we can deal with that as and when it comes up. So, I just want to make sure everyone is hooked in with their electricity, which they are. And we'll make sure that we monitor that just to make sure that we don't go over the top. Cool. So before we move into the Bay Area, I just want to satisfy some of our industrial demand because we've got very high demand. And I want to come back into Musa Gardens very quickly just to add a few more assets in here to give us some workspaces. So I'm just going to add a small rural road into this square that we've got here, just to give us this sort of 2 by 5 or 6 tile area. And then I just want to add in a couple of farm worker barracks into this spot. And I think that's going to look quite nice if we come off of it. Yeah, just to give us some additional little buildings in this area, and it's a place where our farm workers can come and stay while they're sort of on duty. So yeah, I think that's quite cool. And then if we look at what that gives us, each barracks gives us 40 workplaces. So by placing 2, we're getting an additional 80 workplaces in this area. So that's really good. As I said previously, we don't want to expand Musa Farms too much now. But yeah, I think that's some additional value over there. And then over in this side, I just want to add a milking parlour just to give us a bit more production value in this space. So the milking parlour will take the crops and it will turn it into obviously milk, but it allows us to increase our workplaces by 70. So a really good asset to kind of have in this area. And once we decorate this space up, it's going to look really cool sort of sitting there. But yeah, I don't think that's too bad. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, just some additional workplaces, and you'll see immediately we've alleviated some of that demand. So I think we're going to be quite happy with that. Cool. So let's dive in and discuss what we want to do over here. So as I said, I want this road to kind of come round here along the top, and then eventually connect into this larger island over in this space. But I also want smaller roads to come off of here, and possibly also a tram track and our train line, or one or the other, I haven't decided yet, to come off here and then circle around this bay to give our citizens access to the sort of tourist spots that are going to be within this area. So the first thing I want to do in order to do that is to do a bit of terraforming, because I want to introduce layers into this spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to time lapse the terraforming, because I'm sure it's quite a painful watch for people. Hopefully we've got enough money to do this, but yeah, give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back once we've done a bit of terraforming and we can have a chat about what we're going to do next. Okay, guys, so as you would have seen, we ran out of soil pretty quickly. Sorry, we had too much soil, so we had to sell some, but we didn't have the budget to be able to move it on. So what I've done for now is I've created this tiny little mountain over here, which you know, we could use later, but we probably won't, just to get rid of a bit of soil, just to allow us to carve out some initial frames over here. So what I'm envisaging is a couple of layers in this area. So I want this layer to be kind of where the train or tram will come through to drop citizens off and be kind of a base layer. And then up here, I want some additional assets, and I just kind of want that levels of height. I think it's going to look really cool when we're done, but obviously it's going to take us a while to get there. So I've started with this for now. We'll probably change this going forward. This might get bigger and come around this whole area, but I think this is going to give us a good frame to work with initially. So while we're kind of letting our money build back up, and before we get diving in over here, I want to start looking at the road. And as you'll see, we've got some very different terrain over here. So it kind of goes up and down, and we've got these little divots here, there, and everywhere. So I'm going to try and level some of this out, although I am conscious we haven't really got in a lot of budget. I don't want to do too much terraforming over here because I want it to look relatively natural, but you know, we're going to need to do some to allow us to get the desired effect that we want. So I think that's going to look good for us. And then I effectively just want to now continue this road network. So if I come into our roads, you'll remember that we used the content creator pack European 4-lane stone bridge last time to build our bridges. So I want to continue with that road over here. So initially I just want to build in a straight road coming through this section. And you'll get the vibe already that if you're driving in from our initial island area, say from Havelka, you'll be driving along here, and then eventually there will be sort of tourist attractions and stuff layered in this bay over in this section. So yeah, I think that's going to be a good start, and the terrain seems to be allowing us to do this, which is quite nice. And then I just want to hook this road in quite a natural position, so that's not going to work, so I'm just going to freeform it. So let's do this, and then we should be able to get a nice curve back into our bridge, which we can. So yeah, that's going to look good. And then what I would like is this road to separate here and then bring down a small road that will eventually come into this area. So we'll start drawing that frame out, just so we know what we're working with down here. So I'm going to start as usual with our rural roads, just because I want to be conscious of our budget for now. And I just want a road that's actually going to go around this whole bay. So let's see what that looks like. No, I'm not a big fan of that. So let's delete that very quickly. Okay, what we're going to do in this area, actually, we're going to bring in a key. So let me come into our keys. So I want to again use the... Do I want to use this, or do I want to use one of these? Yeah, I'm actually going to use this new city key that was released as part of one of the recent packs that we got. So this is a small key, but it has trees along it, which is quite a nice vibe, and we can change the trees that we're provided with as well. So yeah, I think this just kind of gives an additional layer to any area that we're building in. So as always with keys, we need to be building along coastline. So I'm just going to use this coastline that we built in over here. And just come round to there for now, but you'll get the vibe already, right? So this will be at the edge of this bay area, and what we'll have is some walkable paths and maybe the road sort of right up against this, and maybe the tram sort of coming along here. But I think that's going to be a really nice look for the area. And then what that now allows us to do, if we come back into our roads, is draw in our road using our guidelines. So as I say, I kind of want this to be quite close to the key itself, and I'm just going to use the guidelines just to make sure that we're sticking to the same build frame. So that's going to be good. We will upgrade this obviously, but yeah, I think that's going to be a good start. So that's the good starting point for that area. And then eventually this will come up into here. We might as well do that now actually. Come back into our landscaping tools, use our slope terrain tool, and I effectively want to slope all the way up into here. But for now, if we grab this terrain height and come from here and then just create a slope into this area. Cool, I think everyone's going to be quite happy with that. And then we want to slope all the way up into here, and again I want this to be sort of there. So now what we should have is, oh no, forgive me people, this is not going well. Let's make that slope come back in. Yep, that's going to work. And then just quickly tidy this up so everyone is happy. Cool. So now I think what we can do is draw in our frame for our connector road that's going to come down here. So again, I'm going to continue using these rural roads for now, just to give us enough money to work with. And then I want to just bring this round, and then we should now be able to get a nice curved connection into this piece of road here. So yeah, you're getting the vibe. So you can drive along here, you can continue going eventually into what will be Midtown, or you can come down into the Bay area that's going to sit along here. Cool. So I'm just going to quickly upgrade this section, because what I want to do is start bringing some assets in so we can get an idea of how far we want the terrain to sit up against the assets in this area. So I'm going to come into our unique buildings and into the content creator packs tab. And then using the new selector tool that we've got here, I want to come into the Seaside Resorts. And we're basically going to use all the most of the seaside resorts in this area, including eventually this new Orchard Ocean Pier. But I'm thinking this is probably going to sit over here in what will be a little park area, sitting out into this body of water that sits here. So anyway, that's further down the line. So let's start getting some assets in here. So on this sort of lower section, I don't want anything that's got too much height, but I do want some impressive looking buildings to sit in here. So I think if we just start with this one, which I think is a really cool looking asset. Once we decorate all these up, they're going to look really good with some nice trees placed around them. But yeah, that kind of gives you the vibe that we're looking for here. So I want these really sort of old school seaside resort assets looking out over this nice quay, over the bay, eventually into a park. It's just going to look really cool, sort of sitting along here. So yeah, I think we're going to be quite happy with that for now. So I just want to turn that off and then have a look at some other assets. So I'm going to time lapse this, guys, just so I can select some assets. But once I've placed everything in just on this initial area, we'll come back and have a chat. Okay, guys and girls, so welcome back. So I did mess around quite a lot there trying to get these sort of angles and stuff that I really wanted for this area. But yeah, so we've got this for now. So you'll start to get an understanding of the vibe that I'm looking for here. So we've got all these really historic, really nice looking assets here. And they kind of really remind me of some of the really old sort of seaside towns like Margate in the UK, Brighton, Southend-on-Sea, so on and so forth. So yeah, I think this is a really cool asset, but we will be continuing to build this out. I'm just making sure they're all off for now as well because they've got no power or water, obviously, and they're going to be quite expensive. So I just want to make sure that we're getting the vibe first. But yeah, you'll see what we're kind of looking for here. So you've got this road along here, and then you're going to look down into this seaside town. And yeah, I think it's just going to be a really cool vibe. So I don't think we're going to go much further than this in terms of having these assets. Because once we decorate this up, there's going to be a lot of trees over here, walkable paths, etc., etc. Some nice rocks kind of surrounding this area. So yeah, I think this is going to be good. And then what we could probably do on this side of the island is incorporate some small sort of residential area. So you kind of get the vibe that the initial settlers came in here and created their first sort of seaside resort for their families to come and enjoy. And then a small town sort of developed in the background just to service this town for workers, etc., etc. So yeah, I think that's looking really good. So what I want to do is just kind of get some paths and stuff dotted in here. So nothing too fancy. I think I'm going to use these. What ones do I want? I think I'm going to use the trade school path because I think these have quite a nice vibe. So I want to kind of match the road network as much as possible. And for this in particular, I think that's going to be good. I just want to match the road there. Yeah, that's the vibe I'm looking for. And then what this will allow us to do is start using these gaps to bring in some ramps so people can get up and down. So that's not going to like that. Let's come off of our guidelines. Continue to use our angles. Where's that going to like us coming through? There should be good. And then we're going to come up again there. I want a bit of a sweeping curve in here. Don't want this to be too tight as well. I think I might be a bit too tight in there. Or is that going to look good? No, I think that's fine. So yeah, so I chose this path type because it's quite a nice view when you're looking at it. So yeah, I think that's going to look good. And then I think we will do another one over here. So again, grabbing our path, trying to stick against the road as much as we physically can. And I'm just going to bring this all the way through for now, just to give us space to work in. And again, I just want sort of random curves, because I think curves look really good in city skylines. There's not enough curvature in the natural builds that we do. So let's bring this up as well, and we can actually just connect in there. It's going to look quite nice into the road. So yeah, nice couple of little paths so people can start walking up and down as they come in. Obviously these aren't turned on for now, but once they are, people will start flooding into this area. Cool. So I think that's a good start. So let's continue to build the area. So I want to come back into our terraforming tools and just terraform the rest of this. So we've actually got loads of money now to sell our soil. So it's going to greatly reduce our balance, but I'm just going to do it so we've got plenty to work with. And I now just want to level out this sort of top area to be at the same height as the road. And come in to sort of there in behind our buildings, because this is really going to be, I might have one more asset in here actually, but yeah, I think that's going to look quite good. I just want to soften this area up as well so it looks less janky. Yeah, I think that's quite a nice vibe. Yeah, I'm going to be quite happy with that. Cool. And then over here, so this road is going to come through and eventually hook up over here, and we're going to have another bridge coming through there, but we'll do that later. But I am thinking I want to build out this small town. So it's not going to be anything huge. I want to work out where we're going to place this road. So again, I just want to make sure we've got a nice bit of flat terrain to work with. But I think this is going to come through here and eventually over into the other island. So let's quickly draw that in so we don't lose that frame. So I want this to come straight through here, and then this road can connect up if we use our road guidelines. Bring all our snapping back on. Can I get a nice... Yep, that's going to work for me. Yeah, I'm going to be quite happy with that. And then what we can do is use this space here now to build out a small town. So I think I do want it facing into the tourist spot that we've got here. But I also want to continue to use those sort of layers that we've seen already. So I don't want to be at the same layer as this. I do want a different layer. So I'm going to come up very slightly and just grab a position here. And then this will kind of be our base layer for the start of the town area. So I don't want this to be huge. We're just going to give ourselves a little bit of space to work with initially, just so we can get our frames. So yeah, I think that's going to be good for now. So if I now just bring in a 2-lane road, I just want to get the initial frame. I think we're going to come across there. That's going to be good, and then this will eventually hook up into here to give additional access. But yeah, I think that's going to be a good starting block. And then what I'm actually thinking over here is I want to use some of the mid-century modern assets. I just want to see how it looks, because we've obviously got a view of really sort of old school town area over here. And I just want to see how the mid-century modern will fit in with that vibe. I don't know if it will work, but you know, we can only test. So what I want to do is draw out a little district over here, and then we're going to have this as one new area. So I don't want this to be massive, quite a small district, and we're actually going to name this after one of our lovely subscribers. So this is going to be called, what are we going to call it? So Shap Bay, I think, is going to be quite nice. So that's named after one of our lovely subscribers. So continue to get your subscriptions in. We will have loads of stuff to name going forward. Forgive me if I haven't used your name already as well. Cool. And then I just want to select that and select our mid-century modern vibes. So again, I'm going to do a little time lapse here and just build in a little residential area. And then we'll come back and have a review of what we've built and see if we are all happy. Okay, guys and girls, welcome back. Yeah, we did sort of very little over here, but I think this is actually looking really cool. Um, I'm not sure about you. Let me know down in the comments, but I quite like the look of this kind of more modern homes up against the old school sort of Victorian vibes of the tourist area over in the bay. So yeah, I think this actually looks really good. And once we get some decoration in here and some trees, etc., I think that's going to look really good. But yeah, some additional homes sort of on this bay. I wasn't actually anticipating, as I said previously, having houses over here, but I think this is actually quite a good look. And this could even expand further, but for now, I've just kind of left it in this area of Shat Bay. Um, but yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. But I'm quite happy with that, to be perfectly honest with you. And then I just added some small commercial assets over here. So as always, just making sure that we're being careful about what's growing in. I don't want anything that looks massively out of place. So yeah, I think we're quite happy. So the start of our bay. Yeah, I'll say it again. I'm really pleased with how this is looking. So what I'm going to do to end the episode, I'm going to jump into another time lapse very, very quickly, and then detail this up a little bit just to make sure it doesn't look completely out of place. And then we will come back and discuss the additions before ending the episode. Thanks, guys. Okay, guys and girls, welcome back. So we've done our usual minimal detailing, but just added a few bits and bobs in just to improve the area slightly. So yeah, let's have a quick talk through. So I've added these little nature reserve fences into our more historical area, just running through the spaces where you can kind of, you're on the cliff edge. So again, safety first in Valhaven. We want to make sure that our citizens aren't falling off. So yeah, I think this is a really cool look just around our pathways. We did the same thing around our little car park area, which we also added in. So this is going to be a busy tourist town. So we just want to make sure that people have got places to park if they come to visit. And then over in Shap Bay, we've added some some farm fencing into this area. Again, just where the cliffs are, just to stop people falling overboard. And then, as always, we've added our Valhaven tree palette just around the area, just to give that area that pop. And then some rocks just dotted here, there, and everywhere. So very sporadic. I don't like having them sort of too close together in huge chunks. So I think a few here and there works really well. But you get the vibe. So as you kind of enter in the town, you've got these really huge rocks either side of you, and then you kind of drive in and you're driving between the rocks, and yeah, it's just quite a nice view. And then as you get down into here, you can see the sort of old school historic town, the old school vibes sort of sitting overlooking the bay. Yeah, I think this, for me anyway, this is looking beautiful already. I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. So yeah, I'm actually just going to leave it there then, guys and girls. I just wanted to kind of come in, get this started. It's a nice new addition to the area. We're now starting to build into what will eventually be a midtown vibe. This will all get tidied up as well. These road networks will get corrected to make sure that we've got adequate traffic flow through the area. But again, once we hook this in over here and into this additional highway section, that will ease traffic flow, particularly around these sort of roundabouts over in by Havelka and Medeiros. So yeah, I think this is a good start to expanding the city, guys and girls. So I will leave it there. Next time out, we'll continue. We'll finish off this bay, and then we'll move into Midtown in the next few episodes. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments, particularly what you think of this sort of old and new vibe that we've got over here. But yeah, as always, guys and girls, have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, night, depending on where you are in this wonderful world of ours. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on additional content. And yeah, as always, I will catch you all on the next one.